They say Alabama never forgets its ghosts. In the deep South, history clings to everything: the soil, the houses, even the air. You don't have to believe in the supernatural to feel it. The sense that something came before you, and maybe never left. Tonight, we're traveling through 4 of the most haunted places in Alabama. Places where history still speaks, and sometimes it answers back. Tuscaloosa looks calm from the outside, but on a quiet street stands a mansion that's seen almost 2 centuries of sorrow, the Drish House. It was built in the 1830s by Dr. John R. Drish, a wealthy man known for his temper and his taste for control. He built the home as a monument to himself: wide verandas, tall white columns, and a tower that overlooked the city. But as often happens in old houses, beauty couldn't hide tragedy. Dr. Drish died suddenly after falling down the stairs. His widow, distraught, kept the candles used at his funeral, asking that they be lit again at hers someday. When her time came, no one could find them. The candles had vanished. Years later, after the family was gone and the house abandoned, people began reporting strange lights glowing in the tower, like candles flickering behind glass. The fire department was called so many times, they eventually stopped responding. When the house was restored in the early 2000s, workers reported doors opening on their own and cold air rolling through rooms that should have been sealed. Some say if you stand in the yard at night, you can still see a faint glow in the upper window, the same phantom light that's been reported for more than a century. In Birmingham, the Sloss furnaces rise from the ground like the skeleton of a sleeping monster. Twisted metal, rusted towers, and the faint echo of hammering that shouldn't still exist. This was once the heart of the city's steel empire. In the early 1900s, hundreds of men worked in unbearable heat, surrounded by fire and molten iron. Many died there, crushed, burned, suffocated by gas. Their foreman, James Slag Wormwood, was known for pushing his men harder than anyone else. Some said he was cruel. Others said he was afraid of losing production, afraid of falling short. In 1906, during a night shift, Slag slipped from a high catwalk and fell into a vat of molten metal. They never recovered his body. After that, strange things started happening. Workers reported hearing footsteps overhead when no one was there. A shadow figure seen on the catwalks, tools disappearing, only to turn up days later in impossible places. One night watchman in the 1970s claimed he was shoved so hard from behind that he fell down a flight of stairs, and there was no one else in the building. Another said he heard someone whisper his name near the blast furnace, even though he was working alone. Today, Sloss is a museum and a National Historic Landmark. By day, it's a tourist site, but at night, people still report seeing a man-shaped shadow near the furnaces, glowing faintly red, like he never quite escaped the fire. Montgomery's Huntingdon College looks peaceful. Brick walls, green lawns, the sound of cicadas at dusk. But if you stay on campus long enough, you'll hear the same story repeated every fall. The story of the Red Lady. Her name was Martha, and she transferred to Huntingdon in the early 1900s. She didn't fit in, too quiet, too strange. She decorated her room in red curtains, red carpet, red lamps. Some students said she was obsessed with the color. Others said she used it to feel less alone. One winter night, she stopped attending class. Her roommate thought she'd gone home. Days later, they found her in her room, still dressed in her red gown. Her candle burned down to the wick. She had taken her own life. After that, things started happening in that dorm. Students heard footsteps pacing the hallway, slow and deliberate. Doors slammed. Red light glowed under her door when the room was empty. Each year, when new students move in, someone always asks about her. And sometimes, when the hallways go quiet, they see a figure at the end of the corridor. A woman in red, just standing there watching. Drive down Highway 10 into Camden, and you'll see a white 2-story home surrounded by oak trees. It looks welcoming, the kind of place you'd stop for dinner after a long drive. But step inside, and the air feels different. The Gaines Ridge Dinner Club has been serving guests since the 1980s, but the building itself dates back to the 1820s. It's one of the oldest surviving homes in the area, and it's haunted. Everyone agrees on that. Diners have reported strange cold drafts that move through the dining room. One guest said he saw a woman in an antebellum gown standing by the fireplace, crying softly. When he blinked, she was gone. Another heard a baby crying upstairs, even though the building was empty. The owners say they've heard the voices too. Low, indistinct conversations drifting through the halls when no one else was around. Once, a stack of silverware slid off a table without anyone touching it. The spirits here don't seem angry, just present. Maybe they're former residents, still hosting guests after all these years. But most visitors agree. When the candles flicker for no reason and the room falls silent, everyone can feel it. That old house remembering something it can't let go of. Every state has its ghosts, but Alabama's are unusually loud. They cling to places of work, of study, of grief, as if they're trying to remind us that they were here first. These stories are part of Alabama's history. Whether you believe them or not, the buildings remain, and the people who step inside keep coming back with the same reports. Footsteps in empty rooms, voices in the dark, cold air where there shouldn't be any. They say Alabama never forgets its ghosts, and if you spend enough time here, you might start to feel the same way.